My husband studied English harder than any other student in his age group. So his English was advanced than his groups. So he used to work at American company in South Korea, but he got to pay monthly $90. But if he go to Vietnam as the same position as an administrator, $600.
Uh,
So when he went to Vietnam, it was 1966. We just got married and we had a baby. She was just about, less than 1 year. But my husband, compared to other people at the time, $90 was not low pay, but could not afford. My mother-in-law, the whole family was a baby. So, and then when we married, we had already a lot of debt too, even though we didn't, our wedding was not luxury. So we had no way to, buy the house, to continue the living. So very, very difficult living condition with baby again. So he made a big decision. Unless we make some change, we could not get over, this kind of poverty. So that's why he decided to go over there. So he worked as an administrator in Saigon, Vietnam,
So
until
as
we
an
came back to
administrator
Korea.
of with what business was he working with in South in
The American company in Saigon, supplying to the weapons, all the needed for the war. And then he was administrator. He worked in supply department.
Okay, so your husband goes to South Vietnam to work as an administrator, helping to supply
Right.
the
And then
military.
high salary too.
Okay, so the military effort in South Vietnam.
While war was processing, many Vietnamese civilians were injured. Then they had idea not only the armies needed to care about the civilians. So Korean government medical team was developed. So every year contract doctors, nurses, technicians, administrator. So I was one of them, civilian nurses to take care of Vietnamese civilian who got injured by the war.
Wow, okay. So you were a nurse,
Uh-huh.
so you volunteered to go to South Vietnam, and was the hope that you would also be able to see your husband, I'm sure, while you were there.
Right. Not even, later on, when I came back to South Korea, he was located in Saigon, but I was located in Tuyoa. From Saigon toward north, uh, the place, the name of the place was Tuyoa. So I think it was by airplane just about 1 hour. So he moved to company to Tuyoa. So we were together right before we came back to South Korea. But more than half we were separated because
Um,
between Saigon and Tuyoa.
and so you worked in a hospital in South Vietnam?
Yes, Vietnamese. Since it's a civilians, the Viet Cong how they fight, right? They
Right.
don't care about the time and day and night. So one night they attacked the village, and then early morning everybody who were attacked by Viet Cong came to hospital. So we were called in as a, and we were standing 24 hours there because we don't know when the attack will happen. So rush to the hospital, and then I was checking vital signs because first comes first. Then one woman followed her husband, who was in stretcher, holding her children on both sides. One was holding by hand, the other one was holding under the arm because uh, young, I mean the breastfeeding, that kind of age. I think it's just about a 1 year baby. And then she followed her husband. Then on the floor, I just took vital sign her husband. When he came in, I saw him. He was moving his head side to side, but when I took vital sign, he was steady. So when I saw him, he didn't move. Of course, no vital sign. So he was dead. And then I talked to Vietnamese nurse because of I could not talk Vietnamese. Then Vietnamese nurse told this woman, "Your husband dead." That's what it means. Then right after we said that, then I saw the baby who was holding under the arm. The baby's head was hanging toward the floor. So I checked the baby. Baby was dead too. Then I told Vietnamese nurse, look, the baby is dead too. And Vietnamese nurse told the mother, your baby is dead too. And then this woman did not know where to look at. Floor, husband dead, on her arm, baby dead. She just mute and no move. And then everybody, like a technician, whoever was around, all of a sudden, nobody moved, even eyeballs, not just everybody looked like stop, no word. How can I describe this kind of a scene? How can I forget this kind of a scene? So no move. I don't know how long it took. Everybody just move, just stop. Two, we don't know where to look at, husband and baby. That
Did was the husband was he was in
army,
as a result of he was
civilian army, the Viet Cong came.
so he was killed by the Viet Cong.
Right, right. But I mean, I could not go in detail more than that because I could not ask.
Wow. And so how long were you a nurse in South
Oh,
Vietnam?
1 year. That's a contract by the government.
And so did you regularly see people who were injured as a result of
Yes,
the war?
every day go to church, but the attack did not happen every night. But when attack happened, it was heavier work than the usual work. When I made a round and then taking vital sign, one young man who was chained her leg to the bed, uh, side. So then, because everybody not speaking in English need of Vietnamese, because I didn't speak Vietnamese much, like hello or how are you. Beside that, I could not say anymore. Then, but he had on the then I like to say this one. Vietnamese, because of the weather, all men just wear short pants and sandal regardless age. So this man had, army underwear and nothing else on the body. So, but he had some bandage, heavy bandage on the lower leg, one leg, which was not chained. Then after, it looked something different than other patients. So I came to chart and then I read that there was Viet Cong. So uh, I was so curious and that, oh, this is a real Viet Cong that I saw. But he was smiling, gentle, young. He was 18 years old on the chart. Then I asked Vietnamese nurse, how he came to this hospital because we treat only the civilian. The story was he was fighting before he uh, was caught by the South Vietnamese army in the rice pad. Then he got a gun on his lower leg, the other leg, where he had a heavy bandage. Until he was able to walk, she was fighting. And then he fell down because he could not walk anymore. Then down there, the sun came out because it happened at nighttime. Then American army was close to hospital where I was, brought him. Then he was transferred to army hospital later on. But what I observed during the daytime, Vietnamese nurse was so friendly to him.
Mm.
And then he was friendly to, Vietnamese nurse too. I did not see any difference. Then I was comparing to Korean. If North Korean army was caught by the South Korean army, came to the hospital, we could not treat it like what Vietnamese nurse did it. So then I shared with Korean nurses, look, how is different between Koreans and Vietnamese.
Did you visit American bases or Korean
Yes, yes.
bases?
I visited the American Air Force bases and the Korean Army stations. We call it PX, or what is the post exchange.
Hmm.
When I went in, I did not know where to look at it because I never seen that kind of facility in Korea. So I was just stunned. I did not know where to look at. But one side, when I look at whole Johnny Walker wine bottles from seal to the floor, from big bottle, small bottle. Then I ask right next person, is the brand really Johnny Walker? And then yes, because while I was in Korea, only the certain groups can have Johnny Walker wine because it's so expensive, so rare. It's if whoever gets the wine, of course I don't drink anything. My husband does, so that's why I knew that.
Mm.
But it was so expensive, but it was filled the whole world. Then I said, who who can bring that many, Johnny Walker's bottles? How come it's not only countable, it's filled? And then the other side, even mink coat was
Wow.
displayed. And then not only that, Noridake China, so luxury things in the PX. So then I said, is this really battlefield?
Mm. Yeah, so you're referring to uh not just the war that the United States is fighting in Vietnam, but all of the wealth and the luxury
Oh, yes, that
there.
I was so impressed. And then question, who is going to pay this kind of money?
You shared the story of the woman whose husband died and whose baby died at the same time.
Mhm.
I wonder when you look back on your year as a nurse in Vietnam,
Mhm.
is there another story that stands out in your memory very
Yes,
strongly?
yes, yes.
What's
And
another story you can share?
yes, yes. Another attack happened during the nighttime. So the medical team asked us uh, when dawn in the morning, better go to help the village people. So not knowing, we all moved together in one car. So doctors, nurses, we rushed to get there, and then we saw the fire on the roof, yet one whole village. And then we did not know what to happen because it's too big, too much. But anyhow, my eye caught one lady, old lady, Vietnamese lady, is sitting near the house where still fire on. She uh, cried and cried, talking in Vietnamese. obviously, I could not communicate with her. What's the problem? What can I do for you? No need, cannot say that. But I felt like I knew whole thing what she's crying for, why she's crying. No need to talk. So I felt so bad because I've been through that of course, my house did not have fire, but I mean, the pain, the agony, the sadness, the loss, everything I've been through during the Korean War. The same thing happened. Then I was there as a helper, but I was helpless too. That kind of a memory I cannot forget.
Yeah, you lived through the Korean War and now you're seeing the Vietnam War.
Right. And then I said, since I've been in the war, I could psychologically I could understand more than anybody else, but I could not say anything. That made me more sad.